I'm Greg Hunter. This is the weekly news wrap up for Friday, May 18th, 2018, the WNW 335. And I want to tell you that the mainstream media is freaking out. Listen, this whole Russian deal is a big dud. There's no ties. They've been on this a year and a half, 2 years. There's nothing. And they know it. And even the New York Times admitted there's no Russian collusion with Trump or his administration. There isn't. And so they're doing stuff like this. A friend of mine says, can you believe they're doing this racist thing again with Trump? Yep, they're desperate. And this is out here, and it's just so stupid. It's so transparent. They are desperate. Journalists admit Trump called MS-13 animals, still cried racism. They're trying to tag him with racism because he called MS-13, which is responsible for a kidnapping, stabbing, shootings, murders, robbery, car theft, drug trafficking, and human trafficking. Trump called them animals, and what they're doing is they're saying, well, what he really means is all immigrants, you mean illegal aliens, all undocumented, you mean illegal aliens. They're all animals. No, that's not what he said. He said MS-13. And then this ridiculous shill who was caught in the document dumps from WikiLeaks, John Harwood, this faux reporter, really a propagandist, John Harwood, he has to get on his Twitter account and, however repugnant their actions, MS-13 gang members are human beings, in my humble opinion. You idiot. You idiot. I guess Nazis were human beings too. I mean, they politely asked the Jews to walk into the gas chambers, and they only murdered about 6 million gypsies on top of that. They were really nice about it. They were human beings, the Nazis. Stupid. That's not going to work either. Just dumb. And here's the Stormy Daniels, which is just stupid. And this is a front page story. Trump confirms he paid Cohen up to $250,000. Is it something that happened, I don't know, more than 10 years ago? If it did happen, it's between him and his wife. It wasn't campaign money, as Rudy Giuliani said. It ain't going to take him down either. I don't care. And after Clinton with the cigars and all that, with Monica Lewinsky in the White House, and the vulture alleged rapist of Bill Clinton, who did all kinds of terrible things to women, while Hillary, Miss Bimbo Eruption, covered it up. I don't think people care about a consensual relationship, which Stormy Daniels said it was. That's between him and Melania. So why are they doing this? To cover up the real stuff hitting the fan, and it is hitting the fan, boys and girls. Let's start with Inspector General Horowitz. That also Dave Janda said, hey, this report's going to be a blockbuster. It's 1,200,000 pages. Well, the first report of this has come out. Inspector General Horowitz finds FBI, DOJ, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and Department of Justice broke the law in Clinton probe. That's coming back. She's not exonerated anymore. Refers to prosecutor for criminal charges. You mean that's all coming back into focus? Folks, I've said this a million times, but I want to sum this up for you so it's not all complicated. And this is the way I boiled it down from my small little brain. And that was Hillary Clinton had a private server, or servers, I should say, to hide the fact, unprotected, didn't care about national security. Hillary Clinton had private servers to hide the fact she was taking treasonous bribes and arranging treasonous money-grabbing kickback deals in the form of donations to her global charity fraud. That's Hillary Clinton. And you say, the Clinton thing's back open. Oh, yeah, it's back open. She's committed so many crimes. She obstruction of justice, destruction, not handling a classified material, totally proven. She destroyed 33,000 emails under subpoena from Congress. I mean, the list goes on. And all of her pals. So if we go on, and then here's some other headlines. When it rains, it pours. It's about ready to hit the fan, folks. Consequently, Anthony Weiner's indictment unsealed. Andrew Breitbart vindicated. I'll explain what that means. Andrew Breitbart vindicated. It will be exploring the content of Anthony Weiner's laptop. This is the laptop that had one file in it marked insurance, quote unquote, has been highly anticipated because the contents of his laptop include missing Clinton emails. which, couldn't fit that on there, are expected to be disturbing in private, further evidence of criminal culpability for Clinton and other Democrats. Yes, other people in the Obama administration, I think other Republicans as well. It's not just one party, folks. The swamp runs deep and it's nasty, and they're equal opportunity, evil people like them in the swamp. And so Breitbart vindicated. So remember before the 2016 election, big headline on Breitbart, okay? And the headline read, Eric Prince, NYPD ready to make arrest in Anthony Weiner case. Who's Eric Prince? Blackmail founder, former Navy SEAL. Prince said about Weiner's laptop, this was back in 2016, just before the election. And he said, there's all kinds of criminal culpability, all kinds of emails they've seen that 650,000, including money laundering, underage sex. They got this on video, folks. Play to pay, and of course, plenty of proof of inappropriate handling of sending and receiving classified information and special level SAP, special level, special access programs. I mean, I want some of the highest security programs in the world. And everybody got this, folks. This thing unprotected. It's like a screen door that you walk up to that's not latched. I mean, if you could, my password is 1234. If you know how to do that, you could get into the server. So you know the Chinese, the Russians, the Israelis, the Brazilians, the British, the French, Germans, the Icelanders. Everybody had the information on this material, on this server. Also, word is that Huma Abedin and her crazy, let me take a picture of me in my underwear, husband Anthony Weiner, they've rolled over on the Clintons, and now this is all coming out. I mean, Anthony Weiner, remember I said this, he's a predator, a sexual predator. He only got like 21 or 22 months in a kind of a cushy, easygoing federal prison. How did he get that deal? Why wasn't he in jail for 15 or 20 years? He rolled over. He's still a sexual predator, still got caught with felonies. And now this is all coming back. And meanwhile, the guy that was supposed to destroy Donald Trump, as Joe diGenova, famous former federal prosecutor and a good guy, he said this is all about exonerating Hillary from all kinds of massive crimes. And the reason why they had to exonerate her is because they committed other crimes, massive other crimes that they need to cover up. So they're going to do everything they can, commit felony after felony to get her to be president. Because that way all their crimes will be covered up. Because they're treasonous, they're fraudulent. They involve racketeering. They involved espionage with the Russians, real collusion with the Russians, espionage, extortion. Did I say treason, sedition, fraud, bribes, kickbacks, money laundering? Yeah, all those things. And so the guy who was supposed to kill this was Mueller. What a buffoon. I'm not going to tell you about all of his slip-ups, but here's a couple of them. Mueller indicted a Russian company that didn't even exist. Oh, my gosh. What an idiot. Mueller looking stupid and ridiculous. And then we have the Steele dossier. We know that was paid for by Clinton and the DNC. She took over the DNC, and they used it in FISA warrants. We know that Brennan got his own spy operation against Donald Trump. He was the head of the CIA. Joe diGenova, the famous prosecutor I was telling you about, saying Brennan better get himself a good lawyer because I think he's going down. This is all of it. None of it worked. They tried to invent a counterintelligence sting that would get Donald Trump and anybody in his administration, and it failed. It's now the FBI had moles in the Trump campaign. Total fake investigation from the very beginning. Total fake counterintelligence operation. Totally fake and failed to frame innocent Donald Trump. And meanwhile, Clinton crime was being covered up. Not anymore. Not anymore. Let's go on for more, shall we say, excrement hitting the fan. So we have A.G. Sessions orders release of Fast and Furious documents. This is where this they had these guns and they gave them to drug cartels, and one of our border agents, Brian Terry, was murdered by the guns. But it gets better. This is a CNS News, and this isn't CNS's headline. This is me thinking out loud. The weapons that were in the Fast and Furious, were they linked to Benghazi? Did weapons from Fast and Furious go from America to Benghazi under the Clinton State Department? I don't know. Were weapons going from Benghazi to Syria? Was Ambassador Stevens involved in this? Listen, I told you probably going back to 2010 that they were running guns from Benghazi, from Syria from Benghazi, Libya to Syria. And Hillary Clinton was doing. It was supposed to be her crowning moment. I mean, she was supposed to have all these terrorists come into Libya and knock out Gaddafi. That happened, but it turned into a total crazy terrorist fest in Libya, where people are willing to jump on an inner tube and paddle 500 miles or 800 miles across the Mediterranean Sea to get to safety, to wherever, to Spain or to Italy or anywhere else. On top of it, I didn't know that guns, who knows, maybe guns went from America to Benghazi, and then they recycled them from Benghazi to Syria. I know that happened. I showed you trucks that they bought from, in the Port of Houston, or they bought it in Houston and shipped it out of the Port of Houston and went to Syria. And later you found it later it was shipped to Turkey. And later it was found, with a big 50 caliber machine gun mounted on the back of it. And some ISIS dude, this is all in the Obama administration. So, weapons. Were there weapons sent from here to Benghazi, and then after that they recycle it from Benghazi to Syria? Yeah, that's all going to get opened up, folks. That's all going to get opened up. This was funny. This was after I had Dave Janda on. I've been telling you for, a couple of years how, listen, no signatures on the no deal, the no signature deal. It's fraud. It's a fraud fest. It's not serious. And what happened right after Dave Janda came on? This is a funny coincidence. And the Iranian regime threatens to release names of Western officials who took bribes to pass the nuke deal. This came out on Gateway Pundit. Now, this is a guy by the name of Rahman Ghavami, who was H.J. Azari Sharif's senior advisor. So this Rahman Ghavami tweeted out, if Europeans stop trading with Iran and don't put pressure on U.S., then we'll reveal which Western diplomats and how much money they received during the nuclear negotiations to make Iran deal happen. Are you getting that, folks? They're going to reveal. This is a guy by Rahman Ghavami, who is the A.J. Azari Zarif senior advisor, is talking about releasing the names of Western politicians and how much money they received. That's pretty much confirmation that it was a big fraud fest deal. That's a fraud fest. That's not a deal. That's people just enriching themselves in Germany and France and the UK and the US and all over the Obama administration. That's just a fraud fest. Remember they talked about, well, if you don't get behind this deal, you just want war. No, this is fraud. This isn't going to stop war. This is going to bring it on. Since when has fraud stopped war? Remember Kerry? Remember John Kerry? I remember sitting there watching him at these hearings. He's like stupid. And here he's at this is a July 2015 headline, and this is from Kerry denies seeing Iran deals side agreements. What? The side agreements? Like they're not important. That's the inspections, and that's the meat and potatoes. It's handled by the IAEA. Secretary of State says the IAEA doesn't make the contents of its agreements public. Really? You're negotiating the deal, John Kerry. You can't be that stupid. A lot of senators called the secret side deals is what they called them. And when Kerry was asked straight out in Congress, no, I haven't seen it. I've been briefed on it. Oh, so you haven't seen it, but you got plausible deniability. You've been briefed on it. It's in the possession of the IAEA. In other words, I can't even see it. I'm Secretary of State, and I'm the guy going to arrange the pallets of money going into Iran, but I don't even get to see those secret side deals. Really? That's pretty amazing. I mean, really. And then I brought this up, and I'm harping on this this letter. This is the letter, and you get it nice and close here where you can, let me make sure we can see this. This is the date for the letter. There it is. This is the State Department. It's a 2015 letter. It goes to, at the time, Congressman Mike Pompeo, House of Representatives. And I'm going to blow this up for you. This is the deal where Pompeo asked the Kerry State Department, and a woman by the name of Julia Fryfield answers him. And I'm thinking to myself, well, Iran hasn't signed the deal. And then I started thinking, well, you know what? I don't think anybody signed the deal. I don't think anybody signed the deal. I don't think Germany, France, Russia, China, the UK, the US, Obama administration, Kerry doesn't even know what's in it. He's going to sign it? Really? So I called Dave Jen and I said, could you use your sources? He said, well, wait a minute. Let me take a look at the letter. He says, maybe the key is there. And sure enough, you go back to the second line of the letter. This is the U.S. State Department letter to Congressman Mike Pompeo, 11/19/15, and here is what it says. This is a verbatim. The Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, this is the Iran nuke deal, the JCPOA, is not a treaty or an executive agreement, and it is not a signed document. I don't think anybody signed it. So this is your crowning achievement to save the world. And nobody's going to put John Kerry's not going to put his signature on it. Obama's not going to put his signature on it. Cameron's not going to put his signature on it. Francois Hollande, who's then, the prime minister of France, is not going to put his signature on it. Angela Merkel, she didn't sign it. I don't think this is a signature page. Let's suck that in, folks. It is not a signed document. This is Julia Fryfield, Kerry State Department. So no country, including USA, Kerry, and Obama, signed the Iran nuke deal. Nobody signed it. That's a fraud, folks. If you sign it, you're going to take, not only you're going to take credit for it, it was Barack Obama's crowning foreign policy achievement. The JCPOA, the Iran nuclear deal to get them to cut their nuclear weapons. And nobody's going to sign that proud piece of diplomatic work. Yeah. Well, if you sign it, you also take responsibility for it. Just a fraud fest, folks. So I want to talk about the economy a little bit, and am I seeing some good signs in the economy? Yeah. Yes, I'm seeing good signs in the economy. Trump is bringing back all this money. It is going to ramp up the economy. I think we are going to have some inflation, but I'm seeing basically two economies. I'm seeing on one side, actually the economy's getting better. Unemployment is going down. According to John Williams at shadowstats.com, it's not going down as much as the government would like you to believe, but, I digress. But it is going down some. The dollar's getting stronger because all this, money's coming back. Everybody else is raising taxes, according to Martin Armstrong, who's going to be the guest for the early Sunday release, incidentally. Martin Armstrong is going to be the guest, and he says, the dollar's going to get stronger. That could have a terrible effect on emerging markets, third world countries who have to pay back debt they borrowed in dollars. Now their debt load gets even bigger, but I digress. But I wanted to bring up this. This is somebody just sent me this, and it's from MoneyWise.com. More than 4,000 announced store closings in 2018. I think it's 4,200, and I added them up. It's more than 4,000. Look at the store closing their announcements for 2000 so far. JCPenney's, Macy's, Sears, J. Crew. Just go down the list. Winn-Dixie, Foot Locker, Guess, Vitamin World. And the stores, the amount of closing goes up from here. If you take a look at Michael Kors, and then you start getting down here. Best Buy closing, Mobile's closing 250 stores. Ann Taylor's closing 547 stores. Rite Aid's closing 600 stores, although I think they're emerging, but that's not growth, folks. And Toys R Us, I think they're in some kind of bankruptcy. 735 stores. That's not all, internet taking all the traffic away. Another thing I wanted to bring up is this commodity chart. This is a commodities 10-year analyzed returns, and what it just shows. This is what happened to commodities in the Great Depression. Okay, back down here. This is like 1934. This is now. Look at now in 1934. We're not much above that. This is like some of the worst things that have happened in terms of pricing commodities since the 1930s. You know, around the Great Depression. What does that mean? I don't know. I don't know. Another thing I wanted to talk about was this. Andrew Maguire came on and said the claims for gold. And Charles Ender thinks that gold's going to go up midsummer or beyond. And I think the economy is slowing down. A lot of people think the economy is slowing down. And they're going to pour the coals to the QE in some way, shape, or form. They're not going to be able to keep buying all this debt back that the Fed wants to clean up their balance sheet. According to Jerome Powell and all this, I think Peter Schiff says that when they get into trouble, they're going to print money. That's just the most politically expedient way that they can take care of things, and they can put it off. And they're going to put it off. I know they're going to put it off till after the 2018 midterms, and any politician would. But this is a thing on gold, and Andy Maguire was talking about the real leverage on gold, the claims on every ounce of gold at these exchanges, and he said it was about 1,000, including the derivatives. But the real number is here, and the real number, and it's just, and the claims on gold has just spiked this year, spiked. It's now at a record high. The record high is 500 and let me just write this down for you here. Hold on. Let me see. Yeah, there you go. There you go. 542. That's the number. Okay, so this right here is reflecting 542 actual claims for every ounce of gold at these exchanges. Whoa! What could go wrong? 542 ounces of gold for deliverable gold at COMEX. 542 claims, a record high amount. And then, as Andrew Maguire, who was a gold expert, said, add the derivatives, and it's astronomical. It's 1,000. I mean, who knows what it is? And so I wouldn't believe the price when they come out and that somebody said they put another $1 billion in paper contracts with the market orders, and it's like saying, let's see, how can I lose money? I'm going to sell $1 billion worth of gold, and I'm going to watch it crash, and I'm going to lose money all the way down. Nobody does that trying to make money. They just don't do that, and they're not making money. They're suppressing the price of gold. That's what they're doing. And they've been caught. The big banks, Deutsche Bank and other banks, have been caught and pled guilty to suppressing the price of gold. It's just that the CTFC or it won't do anything. It's probably a government operation or a global central bank operation, and all the global governments are throwing holy water on this action until they want the price to go back up. And I think when the bankers want the price to go the other direction, it's get out of the way. It's going to vault. Because they printed all this money. We got a $20 trillion deficit in America. And I told Michael Pinto this after our interview. I said, Michael, I want you to consider this is a real number. Dr. Mark Skidmore, a real guy at Michigan State University, did the math on just two departments, two of the biggest, the DOD, Department of Defense, and Housing and Urban Development, and came up with $21 trillion missing dollars. Add that to the $20 trillion that we already have in a deficit. And, as my friend Rob Kirby says, we've been told the money supply, the money out there is X, but it's not X. It's X times 3 or 4 or something way more, which is going to be something to watch when it blows. One of the things that I've been told to watch, and over again by my friend Gregory Manarino, he says, watch the bond market. He says, what's happening now is going to live, has started and will end in the bond market. The whole economy, I'm saying, I told him today, I said, I'm looking at like two economies. On one side, you got all this debt, car sales are slowing down. You've got all these, these stores closing. On the other side, trucks are busy. More people are going to work. People are bringing back all this money. Companies are, repatriating this money. The Trump tax cuts are in. People are feeling good. Trump and Manarino says, listen, I don't see it that way. It's just one economy. It may look like it's going okay, but the underlying thing in the economy is the bond market. And if they lose control of the bond market, i.e. rates go up, watch out. Look out. And what Manarino's been really watching, he says, and I don't think there's any stopping this, and that is the is the yield curve, and the number one place to look is the spread between the 10-year, which where they set mortgage rates, and the 30-year bond, the treasury bonds. And so the yield curve is flattening. I mean, you have a 30-year treasury. This is as of last night, Thursday night, at 3.259. The 10-year is at 3.124. I mean, think about this, folks. So if you have, I'm going to invest in a 10-year bond. Hello, Mr. Hunter, if you'd like to invest for another 20 years, hey, we can get you a whole number 0.13% more in money for the next 20 years on top of this 10. Does that sound like a good deal? No. Only 0.13% or so. That's fluctuating up and down. It got as low as 1.8. Between the 10 and the 30-year interest rates. This is a flattening yield curve, folks. And it's nearly flat. Mannarino is just questioning when it will invert. And then he says this: flat yield curve predicted the last 7 recessions and the last 2 stock market crashes. That's just in 2000 and 2008. That's Gregory Mannarino at TradersChoice.net, my friend. And so I say, wow, Greg. That's pretty profound. And that's why he's watching the yield curve, because it's a predicting agent. Now, are they going to try to thwart that? Yes. Are they going to print money or buy bonds? Yes. Are they going to try to do that into and past the 2018 midterm elections? I say yes, and that's why you're seeing gold, claims on gold, and gold coins. And this just at this week at the mint, gold coins went up to 190% of the normal sales. Gold, not silver, gold. And here we have 542 claims on every ounce at COMEX. And that just tells me that's an in-demand product. And I have no idea what's going on with the bar sales. I suspect, the tonnage, those people like Rob Kirby, I imagine that is in very, very high demand, that everybody's trying to get a hold of that asset before this money cloud breaks and pours cash. And I'm not just talking dollars. I'm talking euro and yen and yuan and, everything. Everybody's printed tons of money around the world. I wanted to bring a couple of things about the videos we had, and just to give you some idea about what's going on behind the scenes. And I don't like to complain, but this is instructive. Dave Janda, they demonetized his video. I think everything he said held water. I think he's got good sources. I think especially when they were talking about bribes, and this top Iranian official comes out and says, we're going to reveal the people we bribed to get this deal. I think that just further solidified the story, and it basically said that what we were saying about the bribes and about it being a fraud fest is correct. Well, that YouTube, who owns Google, Google owns YouTube, demonetized that video, first 50,000, and then they gave it back. So it's the game they play is, well, we gave you your monetization. 50,000 views. Poof. Didn't make a penny. And then I had Dane Wigington on, bright guy, geoengineeringwatch.org. He's talking about all these chemtrails across the skies. And I put him on because I know they're going to thump his views, and we're watching the comments go up. We police our comments. We don't let people make all these nasty comments about people. They can disagree, fine, but you can't curse and make all kinds of nasty comments about people and races and religions and everything else. But anyway, we're watching the comments roll on, and then all of a sudden, poof, they're just vanishing as we're watching it in real time. The view count is dismal. Cliff High said, he says, well, you can just about take any video and you have and multiply it by 3. They're suppressing your views or your counts or whatever. So anyway, that's just how I had a good week in terms of content, but according to Google, I didn't have a good week. So all that to say this, I appreciate your donations. That does help us out. I appreciate it, and I also appreciate all your comments. Got some very smart people on USAWatchdog.com and also the YouTube channel as well. Just thank you for supporting us in any way, shape, or form. Even if you just make a comment, that's fantastic. And remember, this is my favorite part about the whole thing, folks. And I thoroughly mean this. And I don't want you people to be afraid. I want people to be informed. Fear robs you of your good judgment, robs you of your ability to take action, or robs you of your faith. Don't be fearful. So I always say, fear not. Prepare yourself mentally, physically, above all spiritually. Fear not. God the Father and the Son, Jesus Christ are firmly in control.